Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. I hope you're enjoying whatever part of the world you are in. I am Roger Love, voice coach, your host, and this is day 2, count 'em, 1, 2, of author interviews for the virtual book tour for our new and already best-selling book, For the Love of Transformation. Here it is. Check it out. Feels good in my hand. Oh, hey, that's me on the cover. We've already reached best-selling status in three categories on Amazon. And that's just so far. Creativity, the first category. Spiritual self-help, I like the sound of that. And motivational self-help. And as of about 45 minutes ago, last time I checked, we are number 903 in all of the books on Amazon. I give you a sitting standing ovation, my fellow authors. Number 903 of all the books on Amazon. Let me put that into perspective. I don't know if any of you actually know how many books are on Amazon.com. Well, there are over 32 million books on Amazon.com for sale right now. So number 903, so far, we're not at the end yet, so far is already incredible. And like I said, we've already reached best-selling status in 3 categories. So we achieved greatness yesterday and more greatness today. So look, we are 903 out of 32 million. I'll take those odds. That's a good game score if you have that score. So with tremendous gratitude, I say congratulations to the other 19 amazing authors for our book, For the Love of Transformation. Congratulations to Michael and Kayla and Abby from Team Alliance Authority Publishing. And thank you to all of our new and past friends, I don't like saying older, past friends and current friends of out there who have purchased the book. Look, if you don't have it yet, I wholeheartedly recommend you get it, you enjoy it, you experience it, and you let it transform the parts of you and your life that still need a little transforming. Let's get real. The book is $6.61. We made it so affordable because we wanted to help more people. Think about this. There is no planet in the galaxy or person who won't get more than $6.61 of experience and life change by reading this book. And if you purchased it today or yesterday, you're going to get over $1,000 of bonuses. And that, like Houdini, disappears today. So please do this for yourself. Go to www.loveoftransformation.com and purchase the book today. Yesterday, I talked about my chapter and how it's called The Sounds of Transformation. And so I figured in my few minutes here this morning, before we jump in and meet the other authors, I would teach a little. So, interesting thing I want you to know. Over 90% of the sounds that you make are absorbed by your own body, and only 10% of the sound of your own voice actually comes out and is heard by anyone that listens to you. Isn't that amazing? 90% of the sound that you're making is absorbed by the body. So when you listen to yourself speak, you are hearing and feeling inside that 90-something%. So what does that mean? That means that everyone who hears you, they don't feel that 90%. They don't hear that 90%. They hear 10%. So unfortunately, when we speak, we don't have an accurate assessment or account. We are not accurate. We don't know what we really sound like because we feel the sound. It vibrates our skulls. It vibrates our chest. It vibrates lots of the body internally. So when we speak, we feel like it's bigger and thicker and stronger and more resonant than it actually is. But that's not what people hear. That's not what the listeners hear. So I'm a voice coach, as many of you know. So the transformation that I'm trying to help people achieve with this book, For the Love of Transformation, is to start to understand the sounds they're making and the ones that are working for them and the ones that are not working for them, the ones that are helping them make great conversations, communications, and relationships and create the life that they want. But in order to do that, people need to understand how to listen to themselves, what they are listening for. And most people, by the way, probably including you, do not love listening to the main way that they can hear themselves. And that is this little device I have in my pocket. It's called the phone. In case any of you forgot, it's the phone. It's also a recording studio. So most people, when they listen to themselves recorded and played back, they don't like the way that they sound. Why? Because it doesn't sound the same to them, because they're used to the feeling of the 90% that they experience plus the 10% that might come out. Most people have no idea what they actually sound like. You have to commit yourself to recording yourself and doing this exercise of recording yourself talking about anything. It doesn't have to be important. Talk about what you had for breakfast. Talk about what you're excited about. Talk about your favorite hobby. Talk about your favorite person. And then listen back, because only in the listening back can you get an accurate assessment of how you sound. So get over the fact that you don't like listening to it and get into the fact that you better find the way to transform your voice into something that you like listening to and that other people love listening to. And like I said, the only way you're going to get an accurate assessment is to record yourself and listen back so that you will know what other people hear. You sometimes feel like you're too loud already, but when you listen back, you're not going to probably be too loud. You sometimes feel like you have all the personality in the world, lots of melody, lots of changes in the voice, and you're going to listen back maybe and hear that you're just not so personality filled. You're not as exciting as you thought. You're going to think you're articulate and that you have amazing words to come out. And then you're going to count when you listen back how many times you used fillers like and like non-words that are basically destroying the language. I say is dumb. Well, until you listen back, you're not going to know how many times you said And then you're going to do it again and try to say it less. Unless you listen back, you're not going to know how many times you said like. And you didn't mean like this and like that. You just meant nebulous, like non-word like. And then you do it again and practice having less likes. So my point in this, again, is get to know your own voice. I give you the variables of what you're supposed to be thinking about in my chapter. And then you're supposed to record yourself and listen and work it up so that you can do the things I'm asking you to do. You're aware of the things that I'm asking you to do. Most people, when they record themselves and listen, they don't know what they're listening for. So how can they give themselves a plus or a minus if you're listening and you don't know what you're really listening for other than some nebulous term of, I like the way I sound or I don't like the way I sound? You're never going to get forwarded in your transformation of voice. So read my chapter, start recording yourself more, get over your immediate hatred of the sound of your voice, because you're not listening to see whether you like it. You're listening to watch for fillers, for ascending melodies, descending melodies. You're listening to make the right volumes. Your voice is a gift. Your voice is a gift for other people. Your voice is not for you. If your voice was for you, why would your ears be over here? Your voice comes out this way and heads out to anyone that is lucky enough to hear you speak. Your voice is a gift for them to hear, not for you. If you want to talk to yourself, you don't have to make any sound. I'm going to tell myself a joke right now. It wasn't that funny. You're lucky you didn't hear it. But when I want to talk to myself, I don't have to make any noise. Stop thinking that your voice is for you. Stop thinking that you're speaking to hear yourself. Your speech is a gift. Every sound that comes out of your mouth is a gift to other people. Enjoy that gift. Craft that gift. Get used to hearing what they hear. And then you can really give a gift that you're proud of giving. Michael, you want to come online and talk for a second so that people can meet our illustrious publisher?
Hi there.
Hi there.
I'm excited. It is day 2 of launch day for The Love of Transformation. Look at this handsome guy right here on the front, as well as 19 other amazing authors in here. And this has been a journey of the last few months of all working together and bringing our stories together and really just sharing stories and tips and tactics and strategies of transformation. And it's been a wonderful journey, right, Roger?
It's been very fun. We started with 19 authors, some of whom had never considered themselves authors. They'd never written a book before, but these experts have spent a lifetime of creating insights, programs, ideas, and implementing incredible concepts. They just hadn't written them down in a book.
Yeah.
So we gave them the opportunity to take the magic that was inside of them and that they were distributing other ways. Some of them are just private coaches or they work for companies, but they're not available. Their ideas and their techniques and their theories and their strategies are not available mass market. So we showed them how to put it in something that would help more people. I always say I'm trying to save the world one voice at a time.
Yep. And the funny thing is, when we first started, a lot of these people were like, well, how do I fit into the book? And the whole idea is that transformation, of course, is the main topic. Voice is sort of a subtopic, but the variety of chapters that we have, including things like samurai warrior knowledge in the book is absolutely amazing. And most of these people, all of these people really are, their common denominator is you, Roger.
I love being the common denominator without being common. Can't I just be the denominator?
Well, you are definitely the denominator between these people. They all love you. They've all had their voice and their lives changed by you, including, who do we have here? Vote Kappa said, Roger, love you to man. And John Marino said, your daily warm-up exercises changed his life.
Oh,
I love it.
I love it. I mean, what better eulogy than you help people along the way?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Long after I am dust and just memory, I'll live on in the voices of people that will always be able to learn my techniques by going to the bookstore or going to a library or going online. We've helped these other 19 authors become immortal.
That's right.
You write a book, you're actually immortal.
Amazon will make sure of it.
I could absolutely pass away tomorrow, and what I've learned about voice lives on for eternity.
That's right. So in our last 20 seconds here, I'll just remind everybody, today is the second day, the last day of our launch. If you support us and get the book through the website, loveoftransformation.com, you'll get over $1,000 in gifts from Roger and all of the other authors. That's our way of thanking you for helping us achieve bestseller status. So Roger, I will turn it over to you.
Wonderful. My first guest author today is Timothy Aleong, who is a dedicated, very dedicated student of life. And he is committed to sharing the knowledge and experiences that have shaped his personal journey in order to help you with your journey. He holds degrees in engineering, business administration, and computational finance. I could barely hold this cup. Along with professional certifications. It is heavy. It's a heavy cup. Along with professional certifications in finance and project management. Timothy's approach is grounded in the belief that knowledge should be accessible to all. Man, do I agree with that. Reflecting the importance of continuous learning and sharing experiences to inspire others. Please welcome my friend, Timothy. Hi.
Hi, Roger. Thank you for that introduction. How are you doing today?
I'm very excited about talking to you and learning from you. So look, thanks for being here and sharing the things you're going to share. Your chapter is called Dream Big, Play Small, and Live Fully. That's it. I can't wait to unpack that. Let me give you everybody a little recount and then we'll go specifically. The chapter talks about your harrowing experience during 9/11 attacks and how it led you to a prolonged period of sort of aimlessness and anxiety. You share your journey of reclaiming your life by dreaming big, setting ambitious goals, and breaking them down into manageable tasks. You emphasize the importance of small, consistent actions in achieving dreams and highlight techniques like journaling, meditation, physical exercise as a way to maintain a positive mindset. You encourage readers to embrace the notion that life happens for them, steering them toward a greater purpose and fulfillment. Okay, that's me talking about you. Now, Timothy, you tell us your experience about 9/11 and how it affected your life and how that event shaped your views on the importance of dreaming big and setting ambitious goals.
Yes, Roger. So during it was 9/11. It was just another day for me. I was just going to work. I was a little bit late. And then all of a sudden, I'm approaching the South Tower and there was a big explosion. And I had to basically run for cover from all the debris falling from the explosion. And so that experience kind of changed my life, where I was I was basically afraid of living, right? That experience has shaped my life, where I didn't want to take risk in life. Only recently, up until 2018, I was wandering aimlessly, I would say, just going along with life. I thought life was great with work and personal and just being successes in life. However, I realized that I really wasn't dreaming big. I was not focused on what do I want out of life. I was just letting life push me around like a buoy in the ocean, to use that analogy. And I decided that I wanted more for myself. I wanted to dream big. So I did dream big. And then how would I accomplish those dreams? And to do that, I decided to do small steps every day, right? Every day, wake up, meditate, journal, and exercise. Those were my 3 things that I found that was very helpful in me to overcome my fear of living. I do that every day today. Still, it's not something that I can just do once and to say I'm cured, but it's a daily exercise where I have to keep on working at my dreams.
Beautiful. You know what? I say you can't just breathe once and live. You got to breathe every breath at a time. That's what creates life. You breaking it down into small chunks. The small chunk I add to it is breath. I breathe in, I'm alive. For that few seconds, I breathe out, I breathe in again, I'm alive. Small steps. Small steps still walk you up to the top of the mountain. Small
Correct.
steps. You talk about journaling, meditation, and physical exercises as being your interesting way of maintaining a positive mindset. How did you discover these techniques, and how have they specifically impacted your daily life and overall well-being?
Journaling, I've done, I've paid for multiple courses by different experts. And so I've spent a lot of time over the years trying to figure out what works for me. Now, not everything will work for everyone. So, my advice is try to see what works for you. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, throw it away or discard it. For me, journaling was very important to get out of my mind. Sometimes the thoughts that are circling my mind would get me in this whirlwind of nausea. I guess nausea, you would say. I don't know a better word to use, but getting those words out on paper actually makes you look at it and you say, these thoughts do not make sense, right? What I'm thinking here. And it was a good way for me to actually put thoughts to words and realize that some of the thoughts that I was having was not being beneficial to me. So daily journaling practice was very helpful in making sure that I really understood what was going on in my mind.
Totally makes sense.
Go ahead, Roger.
I go into, I don't know what time of day you do this, and you tell me, what time of day do you do this?
My aim is to do it as early in the morning as possible. So before around 5 a.m. or 6 a.m.
Wow,
so my goal,
that's the night before. That's amazing. I feel every morning when I wake up, I don't know if you experience this, but I feel every morning when I wake up that I always have my best ideas. So I walk into the bathroom to empty my bladder, very personal story. And I take out I walk into the bathroom with my phone before I read messages or emails, which are always like crisis prevention, I before I do any of that, I record what's on my mind. The idea that I came up with that in night. I always wake up with these ideas in my head. And so I find that that's a fertile time for me. You talk about the importance of starting out each day by listing 3 things that you're grateful for. How has this practice changed your mindset and your attitude?
It's been fantastic. Focusing on 3 things that you're grateful for shifts your focus on life and and happiness, right? I think all our minds, human minds, there's a natural default to focus on the negative things in life. And every day you write down 3 things that you're grateful for, it shifts your perspective on what can be possible. As you said,
Totally.
Maybe it's as simple as being grateful for the breath that you breathe in.
Yeah. They say the richest person is he or she whose pleasures are the least expensive. And people are so good on their vision board of writing these giant vision goals. I will be happy and alive when my beach house is on Carbon Beach and I have 200 feet of sand, forget about the ocean, sand before it gets to the ocean. I will be only happy in life if I have this much money in regular bank accounts and this much money in secret bank accounts hidden somewhere in the world where the government cannot find them. They attach their happiness to all of these big, gigantic things and forget that unless they are alive and they should be happy about the simplest simple things, because unless everyone has something to be grateful for, even if it's just, I woke up. In your journey to reclaim your life, you decided to talk about physical activity. You decided to run a marathon, and you weren't a runner. So what motivated you to take on that giant challenge, and how did it contribute to your personal growth?
Well, that was during the times of COVID, so the gym was not open. And I wanted to start exercising, and the only option was to go outside and go for a walk or go for a run. I decided to face one of my fears of running a marathon. I didn't think I could finish a marathon. However, I decided by journaling, I decided to break down a marathon into little steps. What can I do today so that I can reach my end goal of finishing a marathon in 8 months? So by breaking it a large 26.2 miles into smaller steps, I was able to vision myself completing the marathon.
So amazing. One step at a time, whether you're walking or running. You mentioned breaking down big goals into smaller actionable steps, like a step at a time when you're running in the marathon. Could you walk us through the process of how you did this when you were training? I mean, how did you start training for the marathon? How far what kind of steps did you take every day?
Well, first of all, I did not even like running. I didn't like walking or running. I didn't even like walking on a treadmill. So I just decided to put on my shoes and go for maybe a 3.3 mile walk and then come back home. And then I would increase it the next day to 0.4 miles. So every day I would add on to the previous day's mileage, however small it was. And the confidence that it gave me every day by just completing what I had set out to do, no matter how small it was amazing in terms of the confidence that it gave me. And then I gradually increased the mileage from 0.4 miles to 3 miles, and then to 10, to 6 miles and 10 miles, and then finishing a full marathon.
9/11, affected so many people's mental state. In many ways, I say that the two most prevalent sounds that humans make in the world right now are depression and anger. And in many ways, 9/11 sort of opened up the door that many years ago to more people in the world making the sounds of depression that are still alive today. How did, let's talk more about how 9/11 affected you emotionally, and where you are right now with your mental outlook on life.
9/11 was a very emotional time, and being a guy, I kind of hid my emotions. And only until recently, I wanted to find out more what life had to offer. And this was kind of the reason why I wanted to write this chapter in this book, was to show that it's never too late to change, to transform. And anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Just dream big, break down that dream into smaller steps, and live life. Life is too short to go without direction. Have a direction in life.
Beautiful, beautiful. Tell us how people can get in touch with you if they want to learn more from you after they've read your amazing chapter.
Buy the book. So if you buy the book, and you'll be in contact with me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being today. I walk every day with my wife and as many kids as I can get. And so I'm going to try to walk faster today in your honor up the hill and think of you every step of the way. So thank you so much. My
Thank you,
next
Roger.
guest author is Lisa Gray. She's a seasoned, I just love that word. Makes me hungry though. Seasoned therapist with over 40 years of experience in occupational therapy, structural integration, and body work. She opened up her private practice, Body Oasis. That reminds me of the John Mayer song. Your body is a wonderland, and your body is an oasis as well. And she opened that up in 1999. Lisa's holistic approach combines evidence-based techniques with personalized care, and she ensures that each client receives tailored treatment. So as a lifelong learner, Lisa continues to add knowledge, skills, and techniques to her sessions. Please welcome Lisa J. Gray. Hi.
Hi, Roger.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. Have you been having fun?
How's it feel to be a sudden new best-selling author?
I don't think it's sunk in yet. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't have words.
Big phrase. It's a good phrase, though.
It is.
You know, for today and ever forward, they say anything new. Well, I'm a best-selling author, and it's a good place to start a conversation. Your chapter in the book is called Discovering the Path to Your Superpowers. I think everybody would love to find a better path to superpowers. You explore the concept of unique individual strengths, superpowers, and how understanding them can aid in achieving your personal goals. Drawing from your experience in occupational therapy, which I mentioned, and body work, you explain sort of that a one-size-fits-all solutions are just not effective enough. So you're advocating for a very personalized approach to learning and healing. You introduce practical exercises and concepts like tuning into your bodies, tuning into your own body. And you call it the 3 Bs, and we're going to break this down: brilliance, blind spots, and bias, to help each reader navigate their unique path. So, okay, let's get into some of that. You emphasize the importance of understanding individual processing styles. Can you explain how recognizing whether someone is more visual or auditory or kinesthetic can improve their impact in their personal life?
So because I am a kinesthetic person, sometimes when I meet someone who's very auditory, they can they're giving me things in words, and the connection sometimes is very difficult. See, I'm making a mess of this because I have trouble putting things into words. I'm much better at picking up information that is nonverbal. I was thinking back to a session I had with a child who happened to be on the spectrum, and this was many, many years ago. And we did the whole session, and I never really spoke to him, and we never made eye contact. And at the end of the session, he was kind of like leaning on me. We had gotten into some fine motor stuff. And when I went out to bring him back to his mom, she was at the end of the hall, and he reached out and grabbed my hand, and her jaw dropped. So how do you put that into a context of, it was so magical that we connected on that level, but it wasn't the traditional talking, looking. Does that help?
Yeah, of course it helps. We want to know what's inside your head, and how and any help I can be to draw that out in any method is beneficial to all of us. You talk about the 3 Bs and how that idea influenced your approach to therapy. Can you explain the Bs to us?
So one of the classes I took, this idea got introduced, and to me it was game-changing because Western medicine has not been a good fit for me. And when people prescribe medications, for example, I don't detox well, so they don't often work. So a lot of the physicians then would be very frustrated trying to help me out. The last time I went in, I've actually recently had a brilliant experience with Western medicine, my first, I think. And so when I tell people that I don't detox well, they'll change their approach. So I went in and had I didn't know this was possible, but I had appendicitis when I was on vacation. And the whole process was great because I'm better at not coming in with the problems that Western medicine has had for me or my bad experiences. I'm better at saying, okay, there's some really good stuff here, but I react differently than you're going to expect.
I love it. One of the things you highlight in the book is you talk about tuning into the body's wisdom through awareness of gravity, breathing, and the environment. Could you walk us through how that practice can help someone manage their stress and improve their overall well-being?
Okay. There's two different things that I talk about. One is the managing the stress and calming down, and that's when you bring in together the kinesthetic, or where you are, where you feel your weight, and vision and your breath. And when you have those three things in your awareness at the same time, you know that there's no tigers chasing you. And it's not easy sometimes to get all three together. We often do two and not three things. Then the other one is the personal one of doing something like connecting and breathing into parts of your body and wondering what's going on there, and then breathing out what doesn't serve you, and you can bring in whatever. But that idea of looking inside and sensing, being aware, because it doesn't, like I said, for some people, they may not feel something, they may hear something, or they may have something just pop into their head as opposed to actually feeling.
Can you take us through a little short exercise that we might be able to all do together right now?
Sure. Which one?
Your favorite one.
My favorite one. All right. So, wherever you are, take a deep breath. Got to do this for myself. And close your eyes and feel where you are attached, where you are supported by the earth. And as you breathe in and breathe out, breathe in whatever feels nourishing and nurturing to whatever part of the body you want to go to. And breathe out whatever you no longer want or need. And keep doing that until you are called to another place. Find something that needs to go. Or as you breathe in, notice maybe if something is, detouring, like going around a rock in a stream. That idea of gratitude sometimes can be helpful. I know that for me, when I wake up in the morning, my first sip of coffee is one of the things I'm grateful for. because if you water the flowers, you get more flowers. And if you water the weeds, you get more weeds. So if you can find that even in your body as you're breathing in and breathing out, it can be a shift in perspective.
I let go some stuff already.
Good.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. What advice would you give to someone who struggles with consistency in their self-care practices?
I think the biggest mistake I often see is people who beat themselves up. So if you look at it as a positive, whatever you did that day, the idea of making it small steps, sometimes linking, if you have a habit that you do, like in the morning, I brush my teeth. Well, and I started adding on to that, and I would add rolling a ball under my foot, which may sound like a silly thing, but I was working on my feet at the time. And so that was a helpful thing. I don't do that right now. But if you have a plan that you want to add something into your day, think about something that you do that is kind of a daily habit and click something onto it. Just be careful that your chains don't get too long, because those often will then fall apart. But 2, 3, 4, 5 things is not outside the realm of doable.
I like that. Chain needs together to things that you do every morning. Brushing your teeth. Well, we do it at night. I chain dental flossing my teeth with then brushing my teeth, right? I chain washing my face with dental flossing and then brushing my teeth. So I chain putting on my jammies to then dental flossing to brushing my teeth, whatever. It's the patterns we put it in and connect. I like that. I didn't realize that I was chaining them, but and that you could chain those at any time during the day with multiple things, even as important or more important than brushing your teeth. In your chapter, you talk about, I really like this idea of creating a protective bubble to avoid absorbing all of your clients' issues during therapy sessions. Can you explain how therapists and caregivers might be better at that kind of protective boundary?
Well, you get good at what you have to do. It's necessary. When I go home feeling absolutely wiped, I knew I was not doing something wrong. It was not going to let me continue being a therapist for years. It was exhausting, and it was sometimes when I added body work, it was actually painful to pick up somebody else's stuff. It can be effective for the client if you vacuum them, but it's not going to be effective for the human that's working with them. So having that bubble keeps the information in, but keeps the vacuuming them out.
I love it. In your chapter, you talk about that during the COVID lockdown, you practiced an exercise that you learned from Irene Ryan's course, how to release emotions. What is that, and how did that help you?
That was the one that we already talked about the getting grounded and tuning into your breath and your environment. And when I did that a lot, that was when I noticed all these emotions coming up. But because I had done some other work, I knew to just kind of welcome them and let them go, that it wasn't something that I needed to right now process, because it was like just the remnants of it that was going.
Beautiful. So thank you so much for your chapter. And thank you so much for being a part of the interviews today. If viewers want to connect with you, how can they contact you?
For people that want to schedule an appointment, there's a scheduler on my website, and otherwise just email me.
And what's your email?
Lisa@bodyoasis.net.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My latest best-selling author. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day. For those of you that don't have the book yet, For the Love of Transformation, anything that catches your ears and imagination today is expanded in each chapter of the book. My next guest best-selling author is Alicia Becerril. Is it Becerril or Becerril?
It's a soft C, Becerril. Thank you for
Becerril.
asking.
I like that.
Appreciate it.
No.
It's actually Becerril, if you do it in Spanish. It comes from Becerra, which is calf, and Becerril is where the calf lives.
I love it. You are a seasoned, people love that word, seasoned, legal consultant.
Salt and pepper. I like salt and pepper too.
Okay. I like garlic salt.
Oh yeah, that's good.
It seems to make everything a little more tangy. You a legal consultant specializing in employment law. You guide employers through intricate legal challenges. With a JD from the University of California, Davis School of Law, you blend your academic prowess and hands-on experience, offering very tailored legal advice. Your career spans roles as an adjunct law professor, a litigation attorney, an administrative law judge, which, in my opinion, makes you a very trusted advisor in fostering fair workplace practices. Your integrity and your dedication to proactive resolutions significantly impact the legal landscape and the organizations that you support. So officially welcome to our show today. Your chapter is entitled The Journey. All right. So I'll give a little overview and then I want to break it down. You pay tribute to your parents, Maria and Antonio, who immigrated from Mexico to the United States and lived by very, very strong values of love and faith and hard work. And the narrative details their humble beginnings and their personal losses and the sacrifices that they had to make to provide a better life for their children, including you. Despite the limited formal education, your parents emphasize the importance of schooling and leading their kids to successful careers. And through their journey, and together, they instilled values of resilience, education, community service. They made sure that their family would leave a lasting legacy. In the chapter, you highlight the significance of the sacrifices made and the values your parents held despite the humble beginnings. Can you share more about what those values were and how they shaped your own personal journey?
Well, one example in terms of education, they always stressed how important education was, even though my dad had a 3rd grade education, my mom a 4th grade education when they left Mexico. My mom, what she would do is say, if you have homework, then you don't have to do dishes. And there were 8 kids in my family, so I was not really fond of doing dishes. So I always made sure I had homework. And, that kind of fostered in me a love of learning, because to this day, I love taking classes. I love traveling and learning. I love taking classes. So that's something that was instilled in me. That's just a small example of all the different things that were there when I grew up. And I, in turn, attempt to do that with my son, who also loves traveling, and he's also an attorney. So
Wow.
That's just one example.
Keeping law in the family. You're one of 8 kids. How did the other 7 fare in learning and succeeding?
I have a brother in the state of Washington who is a physician, and he is really good about contributing to the community. He does volunteer work along with the regular physician types of work. A sister, a nurse, another sister, a court reporter, and other siblings who were computer experts. And so we managed to do well in spite of the really slow beginning, I have to say.
Let me just throw in that I am the house dishwasher. That after dinner, I feel that even if I make the dinner, but which is kind of recent, I
I
pretend
hope
to
that's
be.
not too hard on your hands.
Yeah, so it's okay. My hand modeling career never took off, but I love things clean. So after dinner, I clean the dishes. I put them. Cleaning is kind of a strong word. I place them in the dishwasher because the dishwasher doesn't have any homework. So just want to share that. So, let me ask you this. The chapter touches on the themes of resilience in the face of hardship. So how did your parents' experience and teachings help you navigate and create resilience and deal with challenges?
Well, let me go a little bit through my parents' background. My dad was born in this little town called Apado in Michoacan. I visited his town once, and the roads were all dirt. The only way you can get there is by train. And in the homes, they all had dirt floors. And I remember when I was there, a chicken flying through the window. And so it was poor beginnings. My dad left when he was 14 to go work in Mexico City. He came back when he was around 19, couldn't find work in Apado. So he holed himself up in his bedroom for 3 months in order to learn English by way of a record that he played on his record player. And then he had English enough to feel confident enough to come up to Sacramento to look for work, where he met my mom. My mom's story has a very sad journey. She had like a Cinderella story where her mother died. She had a stepmom, and her stepmom took her out of school at the 4th grade level, even though the other kids kept going on to school. And she was required to sew pants all day. And then finally she met her husband, had 3 kids, but he died in an accident. So she had no way of taking care of her children. She was forced to go to the local orphanage and beg them to take the kids. And they did. And for 2 years, that was the story until an ad came from Sacramento, saw her plight, and invited her to live in Sacramento there. And that's where she met my dad, where they had 5 more kids. So in terms of resilience, my dad, he wanted to continue to make a better life. So he learned skills in construction. He got his license, and he finished high school by taking courses through the mail. And he would also make sure that his kids had more opportunities, more experiences. And when he worked as a cabinet maker with this one person, that boss, Mr. Coram, he would take us with him and his family to water ski and snow ski. So my dad figured out ways to give that experience to his kids. So we would go on the weekends to do one or the other, and we'd have secondhand equipment. But he gave us that experience. So it was just always one thing after another that he would provide. And my mom, she was definitely resilient, because she always wanted to make sure that the kids would carry on certain values. And she had a deep faith also that also helped in her resilience. And with regard to the values, she'd say, you've been given a lot, so you are expected to give back to the community. So she taught us how to give back in that way. And also she would make us work hard by having us clean every Saturday the hardwood floors with 20-foot long broom. So we'd be down there waxing the floors. And
wow.
So it's all these different values that she taught us, and it just brought us to the next thing and the next thing. And I really value what they provided to us, with even in light of all the sacrifices that they went through.
Amazing, amazing. I'm going to buy handcuffs for my son today, and I'm going to chain him to the mop, and you know, he doesn't know what's in store for him the rest of the night. You mentioned a profound impact losing your sister Juanita to leukemia. How did this loss shape your family's dynamic? How were they able to get back to all of the positivity? And does this reflect back on resilience even through death?
Yes. My sister was very dear in my family. I think she was my dad's favorite, and she was my best friend. And so she was really, really loved. And then all of a sudden, she went through this. My parents went through that, and the family. And it was devastating. It was devastating for all of us. And I think what helped was the fact that there were other kids that they needed to take care of, and like my brother and my other sisters. So we just kept moving together as a family in order to do what was in front of us. And I think that's an important attribute for anybody to have, is to be able to, regardless of what happens during the day or what's happened in the weeks before, days before, to be able to gather yourself enough to be able to do what's in front of you. And if you can have that kind of peace for that moment or for that day, it's amazing how you can really accomplish whatever goals you have, or whatever thing has to be done at that particular moment. It's a good way to live life, I think.
Yeah, you know, I literally wish I would have grown up as your brother. I'm saying this truthfully, and it's not like I had such a cushy, grow up period. But I only had two brothers to fight with the dishes over, and we have
No,
similar
my
things.
brother was not allowed in the kitchen to do any chores in the kitchen.
Oh wow, I love it. My father only had a second or third grade education as well. He was shot in the eye with a BB gun when he was little, and he started having problems in school, and nobody knew he was blind in one eye. And so they just said, oh, he can't study here anymore. And they kicked him out. And when he was a little after third grade, because he wasn't reading as fast as the other kids. And when I wrote my second book, and your parents, though, learned from life. And my father didn't really, he was loving, but he didn't really learn from life. And my father never really even learned to read and write his whole life. He wasn't a learner. And when I wrote my second book, my second best-selling book, I attribute it to him. And I said, for my father, I write this book because he couldn't. And I've always enjoyed that idea. And you're a testament to your family, and certainly to your parents. And I'm proud of you. And this idea that you have to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth, this idea that people want to be born with a silver spoon in their mouth, or can achieve great things when they're born with spoons in the mouth. I think statistics would probably say it's much more difficult to become a great person, a great human being, when you're too busy chewing on that golden spoon, and when you got to go out and make that spoon out of ceramics yourself, and then figure out what you're going to use that spoon on. The person you become is in so many ways a better human being. So thank you so much for sharing.
It builds strength to have to go through that journey. Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more. I really appreciate you being a part of this book. Congratulations on being a best-selling author. And how can people get in contact with you? How can they get in contact with you?
By AliciaDB3@iCloud.com. That's my email address.
Amazing. I really enjoy spending time with you. I want to spend more time with you myself. So have a beautiful rest of the Sunday, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Our next guest is Christy Vermeer, who is very dear to me. And along with being a best-selling author, she's a professional speaker, and her specialty, which is super important, is being what she calls a joy coach. That makes me smile. She's a joy coach. Look at that face. She overcame a 40-year battle with chronic pain and fatigue. She created a method called the joy decision process, which is a unique framework that helps individuals transform their mindset when they're in difficult situations and find a way to embrace a life filled with joy and purpose. Her work empowers people to reclaim their lives by making daily decisions that cultivate positivity, resilience, we just spoke about that, hope, and on the top of the list, joy. She has a compassionate style and message of choosing joy that resonates with so many people. I love speaking with her. She's a sought-after speaker. Please welcome the joy-filled Christy Vermeer. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm so happy to share you with others. The chapter of your book is appropriately titled "The Joy Decision." Good choice. You recount your journey of overcoming chronic physical pain for years to fulfill your dream, one of your dreams, of actually traveling to Israel. So despite the daunting challenge of hiking 8 miles a day, 8 miles a day, when you could barely walk, you chose faith over fear, and you underwent rigorous preparation, which you're going to tell us about, and your experience in Israel, particularly reaching the En-Gedi waterfall, which is supposed to be amazing, transformed your perspective on pain and life. So the joy decision process emphasizes the importance of viewing life as a journey, owning your mental, emotional, and physical state, and believing in the power of joy and resilience to transform lives. Okay, all sounds good. Christy, in your chapter, you talk about the importance of choosing faith over fear when you're facing challenges. Can you share a specific moment during your preparation of the Israel trip where that choice made a significant difference?
Well, the first moment was basically when I got the call. They're like, there's room on the wait list. Do you want in? And I knew most people never got a chance to even go on his trips. But I also knew at the time I couldn't even walk half a mile. And I knew I was supposed to be able to walk 8 miles a day. And so that was the moment where I thought, do I hang up the phone or do I make this choice right here, right now? I'm going to step out in faith that if I do the work day in, day out, I have 9 months, that I have the faith that it'll come together. And when I get there, it'll be worth it. And so that was my biggest time that I was like, I'm going to choose faith this time, because all the times before, I'd even had the opportunity to go on the trip before, and I'd said no, because I thought my body can't take it. I can't do it. It's too much. But I was tired of saying no to faith and yes to fear. It was time to choose faith.
Wow. Powerful. In the joy decision, you talk about how you manage your chronic pain. Mm-hmm. How can someone start implementing that process in their lives, especially when they're dealing with emotional or physical pain?
For me, it's like I say, and it's like, first, just remember it's a journey. For me, so many times, I was even talking with a friend last night, I'll take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, it's 3 steps back, or 5 steps. But the point is to keep moving forward. And if you're listening to this, or if you're getting the book, you have enough strength to keep moving forward. It may be hard and you may hit the bottom, but just get up one more time, keep moving forward, take the next step. That's what I learned when I was training, is so many days I didn't even want to get out of bed. And I would say, okay, if I don't get out of bed, I'm going to be in so much pain when I hit the trip. And so I just get up, and I thought, if I can just take the step out the door, start moving. Once I got out the door and started going, I felt better, because I felt, hey, I overcame the no, and I got out of bed, I got out the door, And then you get momentum, you keep going. So first, remember it's a journey. It'll have ups and downs. It'll have roadblocks and detours, but it has sunsets and beautiful scenery. So first, just take the step and keep going. And then second, as I would say, is you have to own it mentally, emotionally, and physically. So I was really careful with the language I told myself, using positive language and saying, I can do this. It is worth it. You keep going. And focus. I focused on what it would feel like to be there. So think of something you want to go to or do and think, okay, maybe it's a family gathering. Maybe it's a trip. Think about what it's like to be there and just really keep that clear in your head so that's your focus. So every time you're thinking, I can't do it. Nope. I want to be there. I know I can go it and you can do it. And then you just keep going. And then physically, you just need to do the things. Pay attention to nutrition, exercise, water, do what you can do. But you have to believe. And if you believe you can do it, just keep moving forward.
Powerful. Wow. Tell us about this trip to the Engedi waterfall and how pivotal of a moment that was for you and how reaching that waterfall changed your perspective on pain and life challenges. And how do you use that experience and how can we use that experience?
So for me, when I was training for the trip, like I just said, keep something in mind that you're focused on. The Engedi waterfall was what I focused on. I had actually been to Israel before, gone the little trip, but never been around the area. And I knew that he explored the area, something that most people never did, but I had to be in good shape. And so every day as I was training before the trip, I'm like, just get to the Engedi waterfall, get to the waterfall. And then the day we get there, I felt horrible. I thought, this is all meaningless. All that training was meaningless. I'm in so much pain. I can't do this. And I thought, nope, we've learned, just take the next step, get on the bus. And as we go, I realized that's where we were going. And I thought, okay, let's just try to get to the waterfall I've been to, take the next step. And we did it. And it was amazing. But it was like 112 degrees and people had heat stroke and they're dropping. And we do the next thing. And people have gone back to the bus. And I kept thinking, no, I trained. This is what I came for. I don't want to miss it. Take the next step. Keep going. And so we did the next thing. And then the last thing, more people had dropped off. And he's like, we're going to take on one more thing. And I'm hiking. And my brother was with me. And I was like, I was so tired. My electrolytes weren't working. I felt like the power bars weren't working. And I even love waterfalls. And at that point, I didn't care. But I thought, okay, keep going. And we come around the corner and there's this waterfall. And I'm like, wow. And then the leader actually walked right into it. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. But then he did, and he came out and I thought, okay, well, he had said, we have a choice. We can follow what he's doing today because he's teaching us lessons throughout the day or not. It's our choice. And I decided I'll follow him, but wait, and take out my camera, take out my phone because don't need to get those wet. And so took off that stuff, walked in. And as the water just came down, everything kind of reset. I sat in the water, eating my power bar, drinking my electrolytes, and things cleared up. And I could see things clearly. I didn't have the fog of pain. I wasn't so fatigued. Things made sense. And that's when I realized all the training had paid off. Pushing myself had paid off. Going for a dream was worth it. And for the rest of the trip, anytime I felt tired or hurt, I remembered that day that no matter how hard it was, I could push through. I was strong enough inside. I could keep going and that my dreams could come true because they just had. And so that made a difference for the rest of the trip. And it still makes a difference for me today. I still refer back to that when I think, oh, it's too hard. I can't do this. I'm like, nope, I've done it before. I can do it again.
As a voice coach, people think that I'm all about the sound that comes out of your mouth. And you and I have discussed this, but I'm just as equally interested in the inner voice, the sounds you make inside, because how you hear yourself inside. And you brushed on it, and it makes so much sense. This inner talk has to change. That you use your inner voice to talk yourself into joy. You do not wait for external things to happen to you that make you joyful. You have to use your inner voice to lead you to find the joy. The problem is, and as you very much know, we get so used to connecting negative to our inner voice, especially when there's pain involved.
Mhm.
I always say that when you're filled with joy, time flies. It just goes by. And when you're filled with pain, every second. So every second you feel the pain, it lasts forever. Time slows down to a standstill during pain. So that's the time that it's the most important to create this positive self-talk. Not when just, oh, I ran out of lox for my bagel. That makes me sad. But it's like, I am in pure agony pain. So how can people train themselves in the most painful situations to change the talk?
Well, first of all, give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up for beating yourself up. I even had it last night. I was in pain, and I allow myself a whimper moment where I kind of whimper for a little bit, and then I kind of move through it, but I make the choice. So the first thing is you have to make a choice, and you have to be aware. So what I think is like a catch it, switch it. So first catch, like, oh, negative thoughts going on. Now I have to make a choice. I want to change it. Oh, I don't really feel like it. You can still make the choice even when you don't feel like it. And then you can move on. So it's just being aware. Like for years, I caught myself saying, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm in so much pain. Well, guess what? I was telling my brain to focus on the pain. Look, you're in pain there and there, or you're tired here, here, here. Instead, change the language. So you catch it and then you switch it to, I'm blessed, I'm grateful, I'm joyful, I'm thankful. Or sometimes I just go look at nature. Nature makes me laugh. Nature helps me relax. I put myself in an environment that's better. So it changes my focus and my language. But it's just catching the things like too often, people use what I call killing words, where I say, the pain is killing me. Is it really killing me? No. Do I need to tell my brain that? Absolutely not. So instead of saying it's killing me, now I'm like, well, it's just not my best day. So I'm kind of acknowledging it. I'm not denying it. I'm acknowledging, yep, it's a problem today, but I soften the language. So another example would be, I'm frustrated. I'm angry. They're destroying me. They're backstabbing me. This is destroying my life. Is it really? Or is it merely inconvenient? So soften your language. So first be aware, catch the language, then make a choice. You can make a choice in the moment and choose to soften the language or replace the language with a more positive thing or less negative thing to kind of get you out of the way. And if you're really stuck, what I do is I have a playlist. You all have a playlist on your phone, on your computer. It's punch in your favorite song or two that has positive words, that gets upbeat, that makes you happy. Get on a rebounder, jump up and down on your toes just like this. Drink some water, listen to the song. 5 minutes later, you're going to be in a better place because you've used better language in your head and you've moved your body and changed your focus. So that's my quick thing is I punch in a song, move. It could be walking, and I drink some water, and that changes all three.
Wow. I really like that. I have go-to songs that I play in the car when I'm driving to some place where I'm trying to motivate myself, and go-to songs and music when I want to relax. People underestimate the power of how music can change your emotions. Look, I've spent my lifetime trying to explain that singing and speaking is the same thing, that music needs to be added to the speaking voice so that you can move other people emotionally and move yourself emotionally. So I have songs attached to everything. I can't listen. One of the groups I've taught for like decades is a group called Toto. And when I broke up with a girlfriend years before I got married, and she sent me the next day a breakup song. And that was the meanest thing anyone ever did. Because suddenly I had a song that I equated with absolute heartbreaking. I could not listen to that song for the rest of my life. I had to stop listening to the group that I teach for fear that they were going to play that song. So the worst thing that you can do if you ever break up with someone, is send them a song that tortures them forever. Even after they fall in love with the right person and get married and have kids, that song still tortures me. So this idea of create a new soundtrack for your life, create new self-talk, new music, new attitudes, be grateful, be joy-filled. Thank you so much. How can people get in contact with you? Because I'm sure they want to talk to you more.
Well, they can go to my website. It's www.christyvermeer.com. So just my name, christyvermeer.com. If you don't remember, go look at the book. It's on the book.com.
Amazing. You bring me joy. Thank you so much. Lots of love. My next guest, best-selling author, is Lori Tsugawa, a third-generation Japanese-American and samurai descendant. She is an inspirational speaker, author, best-selling, and life coach who helps individuals and organizations by using ancient concepts from her Japanese heritage. Her approach integrates the moral foundation of Bushido, which she's going to explain, the purpose-driven concept of Ikigai, which she's going to explain, and the perseverance of Ganbaru, which she will explain, to overcome challenges and build strong foundation. Her previous book, Let the Samurai Be Your Guide, explored the relevance of the Bushido Code. Please welcome my samurai friend, Lori Tsugawa. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Roger.
Is it Ganbaru?
Yeah.
Or is
Ganbaru.
it Ganbaru?
Ganbaru. Yes.
Ganbaru.
Very
Okay,
good.
thank you. I am Japanese by association. My wife Miyoko is Japanese, so I get the pronunciation more times than not. Look, the title of your chapter is Passion, Purpose, and Power. You share your journey as a third-generation Japanese American, highlighting the challenges that you faced growing up in a predominantly Caucasian community. You talk about your experiences of overcoming not one, but two very serious auto collisions and discovering your samurai lineage, and using your ancestors' wisdom, you help readers encourage them to adopt concepts to build their resilience and achieve success. So tell me, how did learning about your samurai heritage influence your path to recovery and personal growth?
Well, as you mentioned, that I was in 2 accidents and had traumatic brain injury, and reading at a 7th grade level, which is very, very low. And
Unless you're in 4th grade.
Yeah, unless you're in 4th grade, correct. And so what I did is I kind of put my Japanese background aside because I was teased and bullied and I didn't really like it. But I thought that there must be some answers in my Japanese heritage. So I searched and I found out about the samurai and the code they live by. It's called the Code of Bushido. Bushi is warrior and Do is the way. So it's the way of the warrior. And it includes courage, integrity, benevolence, respect, honesty, honor, and loyalty. And they pledged their sacred honor and their lives to uphold the code. And if they didn't, it was the seppuku, the honorable death. What they have the short sword for is the honorable death, that they commit suicide. But that is their culture. That is their way of life. And I just love that Code of Bushido. And then I found out that our samurai lineage was on my father's side. And I kind of felt like that after I watched the Last Samurai. And I felt, wow, this seems so familiar. So I did. We are Japanese lineage from way back in the feudal Japan. I haven't traced it all the way, but our crest shows that, and you'll see that in the book, that our crest is one of samurai lineage. It has the swords and then the leaf of the katabami plant.
Amazing. So how can we understand how to take the wisdom from the Bushido and the Ikigai and the Ganbaru and affect choices and decisions we make in modern day life? How do we transition those wisdom points to make specific changes?
Thank you for asking. Ikigai is the Japanese concept from Okinawa, Japan, from 795. So it's over 1,000 years old, and it's do what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. But it's like knowing your why. And the Okinawans, there are more centenarians in Okinawa than anywhere else in the world. So they know what
Wow.
they're doing. They have they talk about food, they talk about diet, like only eat up to 80% full. So no Thanksgiving dinners. It's called Hachi Harabu. And they don't do it. And they eat vegetables, and they live in community. They love their lives, and they help each other. They actually live in little wards on the island of Okinawa.
Wow.
And so that I say that first, that person knows what they want, who they are, and where their why, and that it helps a lot. And then you add to that the Kodo Bushido, which is your moral framework, because we all love to do business and have relationships with those that we could love, trust, and that's just how we form our relationship, hopefully, in life. And then at the end is Gambaru, and that's never give up. It's try your hardest, do your best, never give up, and go for broke. But it's actually more than that. It's until you complete your goal, your purpose, your passion, whatever it is, you just keep going. You don't give up. Like what I did with the traumatic brain injury. I did not give up. I continued to research and do all my therapy. And thankfully, I felt that if I finish this book, then I will overcome traumatic brain injury, which I did. It was self-published in 2015.
Wow. It's amazing the whole Japanese culture. In modern culture, what are we held accountable for? We're like, I'm going to do this until I get arrested, and then I'll go to jail. I'm going to do this. I'm going to eat this until I get so obese, and then I'll have a surgery. The Japanese culture said, you're going to be honest and kind and all of these virtues. And what's your penalty if you don't do those things? You actually, your life you do not deserve living if you don't become the good person that you were put on this planet to be. And I'm not suggesting that people who have crummy lives commit suicide. There's certainly enough suicide in the world, but I'm suggesting that we change mindsets to realize the importance of the people that we're supposed to be. And we realize that that's the only way to create an amazing life. Talk about that.
Well, I agree with you, because we're all put on planet Earth for a reason. And I believe that Ikigai will really help people find their passion and purpose in life. And when you do, it's like you get up in the morning and you think, oh, I get to get up and do this, rather than, oh, I got to get up and have a cup of coffee and then decide what I'm going to do. When you have your why, there's nothing that can stop you. You just keep going and going and going, like the Energizer Bunny. And that's what I did. I just kept going until I reached wholeness, because I was not a very productive citizen, reading at a 7th grade level, chronic pain, and my mind was jumbled up. But I've worked hard. I worked hard, and I still continue to work on my brain every day and my voice. So the Ikigai is so important. And so many people in this world don't know their purpose in life. And while I was recovering, I went to the prison and taught a class for about 10 years. And I met women who did not know their purpose in life. And that's what one of my things was as a transition coach, I helped the women with their lives. And I said, build a life here while you're in prison. You have everything you need is paid for. You have a library, you have a gym, you have food, you have clothing, which is not exciting, but you can work on yourself here, get classes, get your GED. And I help women find their purpose, because I said, you don't deserve to live here. This is not where you're meant to live. There's a wonderful life waiting for you outside. And that goes for everybody, because I believe there's a wonderful life for everybody. And it doesn't include, shall we say, a low life. I believe everybody has greatness inside of them.
You're listening to just one author from one chapter in For the Love of Transformation. $6.61. Come on, this is us giving it to
Yes.
you. This is amazing stuff. I literally fell in love with the Japanese culture, mindset, food. When I met my wife, when I met Miyoko, who's only half Japanese, half French Canadian, and she became my best friend she was literally my best friend for 6 months. And when I met her mother, who was fully Japanese, I loved her father too, but when I met her mother, it was fully Japanese. The goodness in her, the honor in her, the kindness in her, I was so grateful to be able to join that family, because it stood for more than just I'm getting married. It stood for I'm getting married and I'm marrying into a family and a culture and a history that I already was so interested in and thought was so beautiful. Japanese people are so respectful and thoughtful. You talk about your daily practice of research and writing, especially during your recovery. People I'm all for reading for pleasure too, but people are reading, novels on who's sleeping with who, instead of maybe reading books that actually can help them achieve a better life. So how did that discipline of your research and writing approach, how did that help your healing after the car accidents?
Well, it healed me emotionally, because I've started really appreciating and understanding my Japanese background. And I say, you make lemonade out of lemons, or turn your mess into a message. And that's what my message is. But someone said you had to get hit in the head in order to find that. But it really did turn the trajectory of my life. And now this is what I'm going to do. And there's not a word for retirement in Japan, in Japanese language. So I'm not going to retire. I'm going to be doing something having to do with my culture, and which includes travel. I've been there quite a few times, and I've taken several groups, and I'm going to take another one next year. Because if you are in the culture or in Japan, you actually experience it, you smell it, you experience their hospitality, their kindness, and their honesty. When I was there, I traveled as a single woman, but I wasn't. I'm married, but I did not feel unsafe. It was just an amazing opportunity. And I tell people there's not many cultures like that in the world where you can feel safe. And right now it's a great time because the dollar is very strong in Japan. So I love Japan, and I've been there at least 12 times, I think. Maybe even 14.
I love it. When I was in I've been to Japan a number of times myself, and so grateful for that. And I remember, and they don't lock their bikes. There were people, riding bikes everywhere. They don't lock their bikes. And somebody told me that if they would have put their wallet on their bike seat with $6.61, the cost of this book, and then gone out for the day, by the time they came back, their wallet and their $6.61 would still be sitting on that bike seat.
Yeah.
And I was like, and if it was stolen, it was from a foreigner who came by. It was a tourist who stole the money to buy the book. Where can people get in contact with you? Because I'm sure they'd love to learn more from you.
Well, it's just my maiden name, or my married name, LoriWhaley.com. That's my website, and it's just Lori at LoriWhaley.com.
Amazing.
I don't know if you want me to put it in the chat. I could
totally put it in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking this journey with us. And I look forward to talking to you and seeing you very, very, very soon.
Well, thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be part of this book and to be one of your students.
Thank you so much. All right. My next guest is Ken Patterson, best-selling author. He is a transformational life coach with over 35 years of experience. He started when he was 3, dedicated to helping individuals embrace their authentic selves and realize their full potential. I love it. As the founder of Utopia, I like that, Utopia, YOU, LLC, he provides practical strategies for cultivating self-love, personal transformation, drawing from a diverse range of disciplines, including the law of attraction and quantum physics. This is going to be interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, please meet Ken Patterson. Hi, Ken. Ken is frozen in quantum physics. Nothing? La, 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 la. Oh. Now you're with me. Almost. I see your head moving now.
Can
I just
you
got to
hear
have...
me?
Hallelujah.
My internet's been working fine all day.
That's all right. It's working fine right now. We are joyful to have you and your internet working. Okay. Can you hear me? Say I can, Roger.
Yeah. Well, I only heard about 3 words you said, so I hope you can hear me because I can't. I don't even know.
I can hear right now. So let's take it. Let's take advantage. It's okay. So the title of your book is called "Loving Yourself is a Superpower." So you've guided a lot of people towards self-discovery and a more self-fulfilling existence through one-on-one coaching and public speaking and workshops. You continue to inspire personal growth and well-being. You, and I know this, you believe and teach that loving yourself positively influences every aspect of your life. So you introduce an emotional technique called emotional positioning system, EPS. Can you explain about that and why self-love is so powerful? Well, it was a good question. I'm so sorry. Oh,
looks like he's having a little bit of internet problems there.
Well, I hope you can hear me because I'm glad that I heard about 4 or 5 things. I think I know what you're saying.
Great. Tell me about EPS and loving yourself.
The emotional GPS to me is really
thwarted. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to Maki now, and we're gonna try to
I hope that you can hear me.
We can't. We're gonna go to Maki now, and we're gonna hope that he gets his internet better. Hi, Maki. How are you?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Where are you? Are you in India right now? Where are you coming in from?
Surprisingly, I'm in Japan right now, so I'm really happy to hear the Lori's story, actually.
Wasn't that great?
It was really great. Samurai and the Gambaru are all familiar with me. I know that very much.
So thank you so much for being here today. How do you feel about being a best-selling author?
I just feel grateful, very grateful to other authors, including Roger and all the people, Sabin and Kala and Abby, everybody. Thank you so much.
Amazing. You're literally, I shouldn't have favorites, but you're one of my favorites. I will just admit it. You are a Japanese international civil servant at the highest level, focusing on digital health technologies. And you are working with over about 200 different countries. So you have a rich background in global health and information and communication, and you sort of bridge health services and technology concepts. Most recently, only since 2023, you've been advancing digitization in traditional medicine in India. That's why I thought you were there right now. And you also serve people as a voice coach for non-native English speakers. You hold master's degrees from Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health and Syracuse University School of Information Studies, as if that's not enough, and a bachelor's degree from the University of Tsugawa. You are amazing. And please welcome my friend Maki Kaji.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think I've been pretty clear. I'm a big fan of yours. The title of your chapter in our book is Voice for Global Transformation. It chronicles your journey from a young singer in Japan to an international civil servant and voice coach. You open up about your struggles with self-confidence, cultural barriers, and the transformative power of voice through music and mentorship. Your story highlights the importance of embracing our authentic voice for personal and global impact, and you demonstrate how overcoming challenges can lead to profound growth and the ability to inspire others. So, can you share how your early experiences with karaoke helped you regain confidence in your voice and ultimately shaped your life and singing style?
Thank you. When I first experienced karaoke, that's also the very first time that I hear my singing voice through the audio system with music. I was 19 years old. I was very much surprised at first and then very much satisfied with my voice. And I make sound. I make a sound. I could hit the pitch. That's what I first learned and then got into it very much.
You had an encounter with a first mentor, Her Holiness Sai Ma, and that you'd say that transformed your understanding of love and fear. So explain that to us.
Thank you. If you feel something you like, or for example, your family, or your lovers, your children, you feel your heart is opening up and feel something really, your body temperature warm up, for example, and really tender and soften yourself. But if you feel something fear, like, I need to go to school at 8 a.m., or tomorrow I have very important meeting that makes me so nervous, you feel something shrink in yourself that we call in the Her Holiness Saima's teaching called fear-based energy. That really shrinks you, but that has really strong power to pull you down. So many people feel something very uncomfortable, and then that has a really strong power to pull the person down. So keep staying in the stage, and everything goes around that fear-based energy. That life does not go up, but goes down, or to be the same for the long term. And nothing changes, no feeling better. And that makes people very much depressed.
Love it. What I know I'm lucky enough to have you as a student. So what techniques from my voice coaching program had the most profound effect on your ability to express your personality and your emotions in English?
First of all, I really love your method, speak like singing, because I usually when I usually sing whatever, like walking or cooking or do some exercises. If I have time, I just naturally and humming or say something, put the melody on it. Then I realized, oh, this is the way I can actually speak English very comfortably. Then that's the opening door to open up myself, especially speaking the English part. And that comes back to the Japanese side as well. It's very interesting. The Japanese side, I always speak Japanese very strongly, like just do types of things. And also to speak politely Japanese, I need to be monotone. I cannot make any melody because of the cultural background. But this is also the same as international organization. People don't put any melody, just the very strongly emphasize the points that they really want to make. So there's the big differences between the speaking English and speaking Japanese. But once I get that methodology in my life and start train myself, that really open up personality. And also I really realized that people really listen to me when I speak, either in Japanese or English. So it's really transformational process that I got that method in me. I still need to learn more, but at least when I speak like with melody, I really feel comfortable, much comfortable than I just speak English or Japanese monotone. And I can show my personality while I'm speaking, and I feel that my emotion also deliver with my voice and melodies. That's really changed the world that people listen to me and work together.
Amazing. You came to me with very specific Japanese speaking issues. Yeah. You said, and basically my first name starts with the first issue, R, Roger, and my last name starts with the second issue, L, love. So I showed you a technique that you'd never heard of, and because I made this technique and I'm proud of it, I showed you a technique for anyone that has problems with R's and L's. And do you want to tell people how you learned that and how that actually helped so much for you to feel like you had a world voice instead of just a Japanese regional voice?
So when I was school in Japan, we learned to pronounce L like a L, and R is just R. So when I called Roger, it's kind of like a Roger. And Roger said, no. You need to open your mouth vertically like a Roger. And love is a love. And I practiced during my jogging. And some people that keep talking, keep saying like a Roger, love at the signals, any signal, I stopped. And then some people ask me like, oh, you miss Roger. And then I said, yes. That was a good experience. Funny. Yeah.
I showed you how some sounds, some words, you have to make a sound first, and you have to put your lips or your tongue or your teeth in a position. Yeah. And for example, when you make an R, I showed you how to take your
lips
and put it over your bottom teeth and make the sound
Roger,
because your lips never went in that position when you tried to make an R. You were Roger.
Yes, Roger. Yes.
So it sounded more like an L. But when I had you go
Roger, yes.
And you weren't used to putting your tongue at the top of the roof of your mouth, right behind your teeth, to say
love, yes.
So what we learned was that there has to be some sounds before words start. Has to happen before Roger, and has to happen before love.
Love, yes.
So simple. I think your R's and L. I love you saying my name, but even when you don't say my name, let me just say your R's and L's sound so good. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you very much. But you practiced me with me the 1 hour.
How do you apply the concept of recognizing and purifying fear-based energies in your life. You talk about this and what and how can we learn from that?
Yeah. The several previous speakers also said, co-authors said, everything is our choice. So if I feel something negative, and stay in that negative mode or make some decision to change the mode is our choice, my choice. How to make choice is quite important to go forward. That's also in the Hindi culture that calls karma. Whatever you did now, do now, that comes back in the future. So the current choice affects in the future. That's all same with other co-authors' points.
Makes sense, but it's a great point. Can you you talk about there was a moment when your mother compared your voice to your sister's and how that experience changed your confidence in general and in singing?
That really affected my not only voice, but also my entire love from my mother. Because when my mom she didn't think that seriously. She just heard some phrases that I was singing in the bathroom. And she said, oh, your voice sounds less beautiful than your voice, the voice of your sister. And then I tried to make my voice softer that my mom loved more. But my mom always denied that my voice sounds very stronger than my sister's voice. So that happens not every day, but almost every week for a month. And then I eventually lost my confidence, only for my voice, but also my personality. And I felt, oh, my mom doesn't like me. That's the reason why she always criticizes my voice. The really, really trigger point for me to I may not be loved by my mother. So it's really sad at that point. Now I know my mom loves me, but at that point I didn't feel that I was loved.
Wow. It's amazing how great parents can still make certain comments. She thought she was helping you in some way.
Yeah.
Look, I remember when I was young and I was struggling with some surgeries I had on my leg, and I had gained a lot of weight, and I remember being outside with my brother Michael, and he looked at me and he says, he said, Roger, you have a great voice, no problem, but you're not ever going to be good looking enough to be a recording artist.
Yeah.
I'm like, now in his way, he was telling me, you just, you don't look like John Bon Jovi. And he was right. I didn't look like John Bon Jovi. What he didn't understand was that was the wrong way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
The man, he was trying to help. He didn't want me to waste all those years thinking I was going to be a rock star. What he didn't know was that the world would change. And that the biggest famous actors in the world and the most famous singers in the world, they're not models. They've managed to be creatives so that they're beautiful on the inside, which makes their creativity shine on the outside and makes them outside more palatable. So there's so much beauty inside, and we're forward thinkers now.
Yeah.
So not a great comment, but I certainly overcame that. You talk about this chance encounter that you had with an ex-band member, and how that later on in your life totally changed your life.
Yeah. So I really want to be in a band to sing songs, but the one the opportunity to meet my best friend right now changed my life, because he had really great band looking for the singers, and I had some types of the high tone voice at the time, So he really wanted me to have a band recording, digital recording. We paid almost $10,000 per person. At the time, very expensive. We worked very hard. The part-time job at the gas station.
You made it. I gotta go, but our time is up. But you made it. And you became a recording artist, and that sudden, and it was a dream come true, and it was a life experience.
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing. I want people to read more of what we started talking about in the chapter. So I got to run. But can you tell people how they can contact you?
So I didn't put any contact information, but my name is Maki Kajiwara. If you put maki.kajiwara or kajiwara.maki@gmail.com are my email addresses. If you're interested in contacting me, please use my name. Sometimes in the first name, last name, dot, that works.
Lots of love. I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Our next best-selling author is Donna Marianski, and she's been a trial lawyer since 1989. She specializes in personal injury and employment law. She has tried over 100 cases, and trying means something different in the legal terms. It's not like she tried to get to 100 cases, but she couldn't drive there. She tried over 100 cases. She holds a degree from California State University, Long Beach, and attended Western State College of Law. She is an advocate member of the American Board of Trial Advocates, and she also serves on their executive committee for the Los Angeles chapter. And outside of her legal career, which is fun for me to experience, she is an award-winning glass artist, okay, and a gourmet chef, currently refining her pizza making skills. So this introduction is absolutely making me want to hear more, and it is super making me hungry. So please welcome the multi-talented Donna Marianski. Hello.
Hi, Roger. How are you?
I'm so happy to be with you.
And I'm happy to see you again, too. I've been bantering your name around a lot lately.
Amazing, amazing. I hope it's, ladies and gentlemen, my client, Roger Love, is not guilty. I hope that's the first sentence that comes.
First one.
Amazing. So your chapter is called Embracing Life's Transformations. And you talk about your journey of personal and professional transformation. You liken yourself, and I really like this, to a phoenix, because you are constantly evolving through challenges and new experiences. You've transitioned seamlessly and joyfully from and in and out of legal careers and mastering voice techniques and overcoming personal fears like public singing. And you even did stand-up comedy at the Comedy Store. My goodness, you embody the importance of continuous growth and resilience. You share your struggles in the chapter about weight issues, as well as the joy of discovering stained glass art, which I want to talk about, and the value of embracing new opportunities at any age. Okay, enough of me. Let's talk to you. What motivated you to take such bold steps in your career and in your personal life, especially as you approach retirement?
I'm a perpetual student, first of all. So what I would tell you is that I am always trying to learn. I'm always trying to be a better Donna. So when I retired, I realized that I love what I do. Why am I giving this up? So instead of doing the defense work, I just went over to the other side, which was a learning curve. And I feel like for the last year, I have been in the cocoon, and through working with you, through doing some of the other things that I've come through, I am now the butterfly emerging, or the phoenix from not crashing and burning, because I didn't crash and burn, but I feel like I've reinvented myself, and I feel elated. I joyful. I don't know how to explain it other than that.
That's explaining it perfectly. You mention overcoming the fear of public performance and how stand-up comedy and singing helped you. So Talk about that. How those experiences have changed you as a trial lawyer.
Well, I haven't sung my first closing argument yet, but I'm close. that could happen. But the stand-up comedy, I think really, I hate to say jurors want to be entertained. First of all, they don't really want to be there, but they want to be entertained. So if I can use some of the techniques that I've learned, let's do that. I came to you because you said, let's move people emotionally with our voice. Boy, were you ever correct. I found that in using the techniques I've learned, I have transformed my voice to have people follow me, to have them follow my client's story, and it has worked to my client's advantage. So I am so thankful for that. I think that, doing the stand-up was one of my bucket lists and so much fun. The scary one was the singing. And, I always say I'll sing in church, but, if anyone makes fun of me, God would strike them dead. But singing in front of a group of people, that was nerve-wracking. And I thought you could hear my knees louder than my voice. But it was very funny. It was an act of courage for me. And I think that's what's so important, is to be courageous, to go on and try to reach, go out and try new things and do things you're afraid of, because once you've done it, it's not so hard to do it again.
I love it. You talk about at some point in your life having struggles with weight issues and self-perception, and what advice can you give people to help them through their challenging situations?
I think that, it's very hard to tune out the voices that other people have of you, when they call you names or whatever it is. I think that you have to listen to yourself. You have to find what works for you. Don't make any changes for yourself that aren't changes you want to make. Don't change for anybody else. You have to change for you. You have to do everything you do with purpose and for you. I think that's really the most important thing. And you have to find a way that makes you happy. And I know I mentioned about Richard Simmons in there, but sweating to the oldies and dancing and having fun was a great way to exercise versus, okay, I have to go to the gym and lift barbells. That's really tough and really hard. I think that finding a fun way to do things, and life is all about having a lot of fun. I get in front of 12 people in a courtroom, and I am having fun. It's very serious what I do, but it's fun. It's exciting. It's just invigorating.
It's so interesting how most people think that even a trial lawyer is successful or not successful based on the words that he or she says. And to understand, and like you said, the jurors, sometimes even the judge, they don't want to be there. Right? I mean, you look up, the judge is like having the worst day of his life sometimes, but the jurors are truly thinking, I don't want to be here. I'm getting paid basically nothing. I'm here all day. Who knows when I'm going to be released? And then most lawyers are up there talking facts and figures and not moving them emotionally. At the very least, every person, especially a trial lawyer, has to be a presenter, a performer. If you can't find some way of emotionally connecting with the jurors, if you can't be entertaining, that doesn't mean you have to sing and dance, but if you can't be emotionally connective, which is entertaining, you cannot form a bond of trust with jurors. And if you can't be emotionally present and authentic and entertaining and presentational, you can't maintain any positive connection with anyone that is listening to you. Agreed?
200%. You are absolutely correct. If I can't tell my story and be entertaining to the point of serious, still being serious about getting my client justice, but if I can't be entertaining, they're going to tune out. I listen to so many other lawyers go, and the evidence will show, the evidence will show. I go, oh my goodness, I've tuned you out, and I like this case. So you have to be entertaining. You have to learn to move people emotionally with your voice. So when you talked about pitch, pace, tone, melody, and volume, to me, I am so cognizant of that when I do that. Slow down, take the break, when I need to be louder, when I need to go softer, and choosing the right words. Because I think in the stand-up comedy exercise that we did, you helped me to choose better words. And I think it's not just about saying stuff, it's about choosing better words, maybe making it shorter and more succinct. So I think that was really important to me.
People don't realize the elements of entertainment. It's entertaining when the person who you're who's speaking to you is interesting. It's entertaining when they're emotional. It's entertaining when they're kind. It's entertaining when they're surprising. It's just not entertainment because someone's singing and dancing. There's so much entertainment that is involved in the things that just being who you are that is surprising to listeners. You, in your chapter, you talk about your mother having a health scare and how you adopted a new eating plan, an exercise routine, and a mindset that helped you maintain these new habits and helped you become better and her become better. Explain that.
I don't remember what the exact health scare was, but she started coming back the first day. All she could eat were carrots. I thought, oh, and then it was, I think they added chicken, or every day there was one new food she could add. So, you know, I was trying to be supportive. So I was living at home at the time. So I ate carrots one day, I ate carrots and chicken the next day, and going on and on. And my mom loves Elvis. So Richard Simmons apparently has had a video exercise program where they're sweating to the oldies with Elvis. So the two of us got together and we sweated to the oldies with Elvis and Richard Simmons. And it was such a great thing for my mom. It got her going. And it's always nice to have a companion or somebody at least coaching you or, you know, lifting you up while you're going through whatever you're going through. So I think being a good friend, being supportive to everybody is really important. I try to do that every day with some inspirational message that I always post on social media about, you know, hey, you know, how wonderful you are. Don't let anyone forget that about you. You know, things like that. I think it's important to lift people up rather than too many people want to tear people down, lift them up.
Amazing. You have found a creative outlet in your stained glass making. So how important is it to be able to, you spend a lot of time writing and researching and really being in the left side of your brain. How important is it for you to have those times where you can go to the right side of the brain, the creative side of your brain? How important is that for everyone?
I think it's really important because you can't just do one thing all the time. Well, I do get some creativity out of the law because I'm writing my opening statement, my closing argument, that it's basically like writing part of a play. I can get lost in doing the glass work that I do. And all of a sudden it'll be 2 a.m. and I don't realize I've been there for 3 hours, just, you know, getting lost with listening to music and putting glass pieces together. And I've gone from stained glass, what they call fusing glass, which is putting it into a kiln and cooking it basically. It is magic to watch. It's magic. And so it fills me with such joy to do that. And it kind of connects over to the culinary side. So now I'm cooking glass as well as cooking pizza. But I think that you have to have a creative outlet or an outlet of some kind. Some people have exercise. And for me, I'm a creative person. So I really enjoy the aspects of of working with glass and the beauty and the shine and the.
Wonderful. Look, you're a joy to always be around. So how can people reach out to you if they want to get in contact?
If they want to reach out to me, my personal email is at D Marianski, so DMaryanski, the number 1 at Verizon, VERIZON.net.
Thank you so much. I can't wait till the next time that you and I can be together in person. Lots of love.
Yeah. Love you, Roger. Thank you.
My next guest author is Adriana Harris. She holds dual graduate degrees in management, information systems, and accounting from Winston-Salem State University and an MBA. She's recognized for her civic engagement. Thank you for all that. Participating in the Civic Leadership Academy and founding I Need to Know How LLC, which offers how-to content and educational videos. She's committed to using data-driven insights to improve business operations and drive strategic decisions. Please welcome Adriana Harris. Hi.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming up with that wonderful title for the book. When I heard about it, that's the first thing that actually drew me to the project. So thank you for that. Amazing.
Well, the title of your chapter is When Knowing Why Isn't Enough. And when I've read your chapter, but when I heard that title, I was loving it and it made me want to learn more. I'll give a recap and then let's go into details.
Okay.
In this chapter, you share a deeply personal story about overcoming challenges, including being unexpectedly forced to find independent housing and discovering that you were pregnant while you were still in school. And you emphasize the importance of having a strong why to stay motivated, but acknowledge that sometimes even a compelling why or reason just isn't enough.
Yes.
So you advocate for the power of consistency, mindset shifts, and seeking advice to achieve goals. Yes. You also stress the significance of connecting our goals to our life's purpose and recognizing the broader benefits of accomplishment. I resonate with all of that. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
The chapter talks about why having a strong why isn't enough. Can you explain that and share some moments in your journey when your why wasn't sufficient and how you managed to get past that?
Well, one of my issues that I had was I was a first generation college grad. And so I didn't have the mental support or the financial support from other people. And so I had to rely on myself mostly. And at that particular point in time, I knew that I wanted to go to college and graduate, but I really didn't understand what the benefits were going to be once I actually graduated. Okay. So when I got pregnant with my daughter, everything had changed for me. There's some parts in the chapter that there's certain parts of my story I was actually not able to put in the story. But my grandmother had lived in the projects. My mom had lived in the projects. We grew up in the projects. And so after I had my daughter, I went back to the same projects to apply to live there myself. And so at that particular point in time, I went back home and I said, I don't want to repeat the cycle of actually living in the projects too. And so that's when I changed my why to, I'm going to break that cycle and have something better for my daughter and myself. So that motivated me from the time I thought about it all the way to the end, because it made me start thinking about my purpose in life. My purpose in life is to change my family's life and to change the next generation for them as well. So a lot of times when you don't have a why, it's very, very important to think about another why that you may have, and maybe also connected with your purpose as well. And it'll actually give you a lot more motivation, and it'll give you that drive and that movement and the momentum for you to finish.
Wow. What amazing beginning to an incredible life. You talk about consistency and setting small achievable goals to build momentum, which is something that seems very, very important. Can you elaborate on how this approach helped you progress to the person that you are now?
Well, consistency, when you do not have a why, it's very important to focus on the consistency, but consistency is going to give you the movement that you need, right? So as you're focusing on the consistency, it's going to help you get all into the process that you need to get into. So once you start getting into the process, you're going to be able to redefine the process and make the process yours. So for me, it was taking small steps, right? Going to class on time, doing everything that I was actually supposed to do. And once I started doing that, I started meeting other people who was actually in college. They were going back to school, and some of those people actually had children as well. But it's very, very important to be consistent, because that consistency is what's really going to help you win at the end. If you don't do anything else, make sure that you show up for yourself and make sure that you are consistent.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You talk in the chapter about shifting your mindset toward optimism and positive thinking. And it's people get into this mindset that, that it's easy for some people and it's harder for other people, but it's hard to consistently change from pessimism to optimism. How did you manage to do that in the tough situations?
In the situation that I was in, I just kept thinking about, I can do this. That's what I would say to myself. Some days I would say in the mornings, it's going to be okay. Just keep going, It's going to pay off. And I started visualizing myself being out of the situation that I was in. I started visualizing myself just living in a different apartment complex and owning my own house and so forth. Mm-hmm. So I had to give myself a lot of positive. And also, I had to be my own. I had to be my own cheerleader, basically, to a certain degree. But yeah, I actually changed my mindset immediately as soon as I found out that's what I wanted to do and the reason why I wanted to do it. I really, really wanted it so bad that I had to hype myself up to a certain degree.
It's fake it till you make it.
Yes.
I tell people, they're like, I have no self-confidence. I'm like saying, all I have to do is create the sounds of self-confidence, and you don't actually have to be self-confident. Yeah. And when you present self-confidence, even if you're just faking it and other people react to you as if you're strong, you'll start to get confident. Yeah. And visualization, I use a lot of that. When somebody comes in for a lesson, singer or speaker, I say, okay, imagine you're at the absolute pinnacle of your dream career. You're on stage, or you're on a stage. Now, let's say you're singing, or let's say you're speaking. What are you singing? What stage are you on? Who's the audience? How old are they? How many of them are there? What's on stage with you? Do you have a band? Do you have a piano player? Is it a rock band? What are you wearing? What's coming out of your mouth? And then they were like, I don't know. Let's just imagine it's your dream. And then I have them see themselves, for example, if they wanted to be a singer, on stage at IKEA Center, and they've got a rock band behind them, and they're dressed in black leather, and there's 30,000, 50,000 people who are of this age to this age, and they're screaming your name, Roger, Roger, Roger. And then we work backwards. It's why not have dreams? If you can't see it, you can't be it. You talk about chunking consistency and positivity into small chunks. Like you study for 30 minutes, 3 times a week, so that you build that kind of confidence. Tell us about that. What should we study? What did you study?
Well, what I did was I had set up a plan for myself, and for every class that I had, I actually studied 30 minutes a night for each class, in addition to doing my homework. So, but I put that plan in place because I said it's not an option. Failure is not an option for me right now. So I got to really, really make this happen. I might not get a chance to do this again. Yeah. So my consistency for me was just making sure I did my homework 30 minutes a night, and if I had any homework to do, make sure I got that accomplished as well. But in addition to that, I mean, I even before class started, I would actually go and read like 2 chapters of each of my books that I had. So before the first day of class, I had already read those first 2 chapters. So I built that in as well as part of the process once I had mastered the process of being consistent.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, young people, they're like, oh, I'm tired. I'll work on this tomorrow. I mean, you know, my generation, and I'm older than you, but obviously you as an individual, if I give myself a task, I'm going to finish that task. And I don't care if I have to stay up all day and night. I don't care if I miss sleep. I don't care if I got to stay up for 2 nights. I've made a task. And when I set my mind to do it, I'm going to finish that task. I may complain about it and through it, but I'm going to finish my task. So this idea of putting it off till later, it doesn't really exist in my world. You and I, we can't put things off till later, because what happens later? The next things that we have to do that day. In your chapter, you talk about making a list of this. I think is amazing. Make the list of potential obstacles ahead of time and prevent, or at least try to come up with alternative ways to prevent them from happening. Can you describe how that works?
Okay, so I wanted this so bad. I wrote down everything on a piece of paper that could prevent this from happening. And so I started with my car. I said, what am I going to do if something happens to my car? At the time, my car was leaking oil. So I kept oil in my car and I checked it every single week. So I said, well, what else could happen? I actually could get dropped from my classes by my professors if I don't do what I was supposed to do, because I didn't actually attend classes like I was supposed to. So what I did was I made sure that I actually was not missing any classes. And there were times when I say there's going to be times when you may need to miss a class because your daughter is sick. So there would be times when I would show up to class and I wasn't really feeling well, because I know I needed to save those days just in case my daughter wasn't feeling well. So it was just little things like that. And then I said, what else could actually prevent me from actually graduating as well is if I don't have a place to live. So one of the first things I did was, as soon as I got my paycheck, I made sure that I actually paid my rent. So it was things like that. I thought everything out, you know, what could prevent me from not graduating, and whatever it was, I made a list. I folded it up. I put it in my purse along with the poem, Don't Quit. And that's what I kept my eye on, was those two.
Wow. Most people make lists, and their lists are too grandiose. Yes. I talked about it earlier, but their to-do lists are like vision boards. Their to-do lists are their dream things, but then they're not actionable items. Yes. Your dream was to have a house or provide constant housing for you and your family. Your daily actions have to be the to-do list that make that happen. You actually, as soon as you got paid, first thing on your to-do list, you went and paid the rent. You went and paid the mortgage before you had the opportunity to spend that money on anything else. So you prioritized on your to-do list the things that were dream-like, but were life-like, were reality-based. And it's a lot easier to put a to-do list together. I'm not good at to-do lists of simple tasks. My wife is a genius. She says to me, you forgot to make that call. And that's because usually on my to-do list is conquer the world, make Israel and Palestine come together. I have my dream list. My to-do things are too big. Okay. So I really, I love what you're doing. You talk about this, an impact of the poem, Don't Quit. You mentioned it. So how did that help you? What was so special about that was that inspirational?
That poem is a really great poem. I never had failed in my life previous to reading that poem. And that poem made me realize that success is failure turned inside out. And that you must get up. And if you have to rest, but get back up and continue on. And it wasn't until I heard that poem, I was like, wow, this is really what I'm going through right now. I'm going through learning lessons that I need to, just reevaluate some things, and then I can be successful too. I just got to look at my failures as, being something different. Yeah. That poem was a game changer for me. I actually had a copy of that in my purse too as well. Yeah.
If you can listen to this interview with Adriana and not buy this book, please reconsider. Amazing. You're an inspiration to me and to everyone who hears you and who everyone else will read about you. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful rest of the weekend. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. You need my contact information?
Oh, yes, please. I need your contact information.
Okay, my name is Adriana Harris. I can be reached at harris_ad@hotmail.com, or you can come by and visit my website, ineedtoknowhow.com.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
My next guest author is best-selling author Nancy Sule. She is a distinguished speaker and vocalist with over 30 years experience in the music industry. Her performance career spans from a cappella, just her singing, to big band jazz. She created the global musician program, Notes That Float. This will mean something. We're not talking about root beer floats here. Helping musicians secure positions on cruise ships. I didn't know anybody like her existed. If I would have known her early on, I would have been on a cruise ship for sure, all summers. Nancy's books, including Work at CSEA and CSEA, The World, and Notes That Float, guide musicians through the cruise industry's complexities. Please give a musical water welcome to Nancy. Nancy, how are you?
Hey, Roger. Thank you. That's an amazing introduction. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Try to make it as musical as possible. Okay.
I am on a ship as we speak. I'm on the way to Juneau in Alaska. I wish I could show you the view out of this conference room. It's incredible with ocean and clouds, and it's absolutely beautiful.
We don't want to see the view.
Heaven.
We don't want to see the view. All of us want to be in the cabin. We're past. We want to be in the cabin with you. The title of your book is Finding Your Groove: Life's Improvisation. Very, very musical. You explore. I'll set it up, and then we'll talk about it. You explore the inevitability of life's transitions and the importance of embracing change for personal growth. You draw parallels between life and music, like I do, emphasizing the need to find our unique voice and break free from societal rules. You share your journey in the music industry, highlighting how improvisation in jazz allowed you to discover your true self. You encourage readers to seize opportunities for transformation, whether that's through local gigs, joining bands, or performing on cruise ships to achieve personal and professional fulfillment. So I had trouble getting some of those words out of my mouth. Luckily, we have you. In your chapter, you discuss the inevitability of life's transitions and the importance of embracing change. Can you share a personal experience where embracing change led to a significant transformation in your life?
Oh my gosh, there have been so many. And so many of the other authors have talked about that too, as far as the challenges that they've faced in adversity that has changed things tremendously. Oh my gosh, I've been through a lot of my own tragedies. I went through a divorce and a bankruptcy and a coma. And I woke up with a tube up my nose and a hose down my throat and had no voice. And I came back from that. And through the grace of God and a bunch of really nice doctors, they put me back together. And I realized that time is really kind of short in this world. You just never know what's going to happen. And to embrace the opportunities that are presented to you are important. If you're finding what you love is crucial. You can't just kind of muddle through. It's just embrace the life that you have, because it's fleeting and you got to love what you do.
Well said. You talk about how discovering jazz and the concept of improvisation, how that actually changed your mindset and your life.
Completely. I mean, I spent a lot of time, with the a cappella group that, we're doing doo-wop. When we got into a blues band, you got to cover things. I was in a party band that was all I had to be James Brown. Come on. And Michael Jackson. Woo-hoo. And it wasn't until I found jazz that I had a chance to do my voice. I didn't have to cover somebody else. I didn't have to, because people would come up at a gig and say, "Wow, that was a different version." It's like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not Michael. I'm a little short white girl. Come on." So you do the best you can, but when you can find your own voice and change the music to your own style and your own emotion and put your own feeling into it, that's what is going to move the audience. And I think that's the same thing in life. People, throw things at you regardless of what your job is. There where you have to improvise and you got to dodge and you got to make things work. And if you can make that connection with people, that's so crucial.
It's so interesting, and I never connected improvisational style of music with realizing that every single moment of every single day of our lives is improvisation. It's improvisation as to know anything that's going to happen next. And so singing and making up melodies in the moment is a wonderful way of training your mind and your body to be in every moment, realizing that there's infinite paths, infinite choices, infinite decisions, infinite ideas, and you just manage to weave them all together. So at the end of the day, it's like the end of a song. You've weaved together all of the moments and all of the choices and all of the seconds into that song of that day. It's a concept I can wrap my head around, because I never think that any day, any moment is guaranteed structured. People say, "Oh, Roger, you're doing doing these exercises with your students every day. Don't you? Isn't that monotonous? Getting bored?" I say, "No, I've never done that at that second on that day with that person." So every second is new, even if it's something that you've done many times. Okay, one of your key messages.
That I agree.
Right. So you've helped me even more understand that. One of your key messages is about seizing opportunities for transformation, whether that's joining some local gig or a band or establishing or performing on a cruise ship. What advice do you give aspiring musicians who are hesitant to take the leap into new opportunities?
Just do it. Just do it. Even if you start with karaoke, or you playing with your own tapes on the radio and in the car or whatever, just getting it out there. There's so much power in the voice to express and to put your own feelings into things. And you're singing in the car, you're not thinking about an audience or anything. You're just free. And if you can translate that into the rest of your life, even if you're not performing, it's amazing. And you can, like what Donna was saying, doing it in front of juries. I mean, you have to get that emotional stuff out. So if anybody is really interested in being a musician, you just got to do it. You practice. Practicing is the thing. That's that word. Ooh. Nobody really wants to feel like but doing it because you love it. And that was the joy that I found on cruise ships, because I got to sing every day and did what I love. When I was growing up, I had this giant binder where I would copy down all the lyrics off the back of my albums. And even though I would never probably sing them, I would write them down because I wanted to be sure I had them in case I needed them sometime. And just having that vision in my head is what I really wanted to do. I went through a whole bunch of other jobs. I've been a retailer. I've been a teacher for 18 years. I've been a fashion designer and a costume designer and all those other sorts of things. But the music was always in my heart. And it wasn't until I found ships that I realized I could actually do this all the time. It's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. They will pay me to travel around the world and do what I love. What could be better than that? So that was my transition. But if anybody wants to, head in that direction, just do it. Start with little local things if you want to. Start with karaoke. If you're just a beginner, find your own genre. Find out what fits, because I've seen a lot of karaoke where everybody wants to do my way. Come on, Frank did my way, but do it your way, and find things that are heart-centered for you. Is it jazz? Is it blues? Is it pop? Do you want to be Madonna? Do you want to be Michael? Go ahead. Just do it, and then you'll find your way. And don't be afraid of auditions. Everybody's, oh my God, but that's the only way to find the right connection with other people that will have the chance to express what you really want to express and have the fun. And the camaraderie of a band is just amazing, because the guys that I've been working with are so phenomenal, and I just love them to death. And it's just the best thing ever. They're a family.
Yeah, it's amazing how. I mean, all the groups that I've been working with bands for my whole life. And when you're in a band, that's your family. And it's difficult sometimes to keep the rest of your family, like marriages and kids, going. But the band becomes the family. That experience is, and hopefully you can keep the rest of your life going too. But that experience is an amazing experience. And also let's go back to this idea of when I went to Japan first time, and I was working with all these big Japanese stars. I'm like, hey, I'm going to create a school here where people who get up and sing karaoke, they're going to learn how to be great singers. And they said to me, nobody who gets up at karaoke cares about being a great singer. So, and I was like, why? They're like, because it's a release. It's because they're there to experience life through music. And then I said, really? I said, I understand that. And that's the part we're talking about. I said, I also understand that if I'm at a karaoke place, and whether I'm Japanese or not, and if I can sing better than the next person, the person before me or after me, there's a certain amount of confidence that gives me. Like maybe somebody's going to buy me a drink, maybe, and so that there's got to be ego in it involved. But I think no matter how much ego is involved to be the best, which takes practice, it comes back to karaoke in general is about release. It's not about sounding the best. It's about finding yourself. It's about finding your style, finding the letting music be a part of your life. If people want to get gigs on cruise ships, what's the first way they can do it? If we got singers out there that want to get it on a cruise ship, how do they do it?
Well, it's hard. And that's why I wrote the book, because when I started, it was just kind of a fluke that I managed to find somebody online who needed somebody. My guys were in a little between singers, and they needed somebody to fill in. And so it was a blessing for me. I don't thank you. I don't know where it came from. But it's so hard to find. And I would have done it years and years ago had I known, as you said, because nobody tells you how. It's kind of a way to end. There are a lot of things that are posted online that you can't trust because you don't really know if they're real on Facebook. And so honestly, call me because that's why I wrote the book.
No, honestly,
you don't
first,
know what you're getting into.
Yeah, I love it. Honestly, I honestly read this book first. Then,
absolutely. That's the first one.
And then reach out to you. How can they reach out to you?
You can get me at nancysule.net. That's SOULE.net. The accent doesn't come out on a computer. I have a friend in Mississippi who called me Nancy Soule, my friend forever. So I go by that as well. So either way, either that or there's musician support at notesthatfloat.net if you want to hit an email.
Amazing. Nancy, thank you so much for being.
There's so much more to it than just singing.
Of course. Thank you so much for being with us today.
There's the whole world on board that nobody knows about.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate your time and lots of love. And we'll see you soon. Hopefully on the water.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Roger.
Okay. All right. Now, last but not least, we're going back to find Ken. Oh, Ken, talk to me.
So, and you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can absolutely hear you.
Perfect.
Welcome back. All right. Ken is a transformational life coach. And I talked about earlier, if you were here, how he's the founder of Utopia LLC. The chapter of his book is called Loving Yourself is Your Superpower. So let's get into it. You talk about the system called Emotional Positioning System, EPS. Break that down for us.
Basically, I really believe that source, God, creation, however you see that, you have something built into you already that tells you where you are. Because if you know where you are, you can get to where you want to be a heck of a lot easier. And so for me, I realized that really is something that's built into all of us, is that if you can pay attention to how you feel, whether it's bad or good or somewhere in between, then you can find a way to get out of there and, interrupt that broadcast of negative thoughts or whatever's happening and do something about it. And so that's why I came up with that, because really it's just something we all have, but a lot of people just aren't aware of it. A lot of times you feel bad for so long, or you're just used to that you don't realize what's happening to you when you're doing that. It's causing some problems, obviously. And so if you can tap into that and check in with yourself throughout the day, and you can even set an alarm and just, ask yourself the question, how am I feeling right now? Do I feel good? Do I feel not so good? Do I feel off or something? Anything that kind of gives you an idea to where now you can do something about it. If that makes sense.
Makes sense. You talk about self-love reflection and like how it's a practical method for cultivating that self-love. Walk us through that technique.
Well, I was introduced to that a long time ago. A lot of people, taught mirror work for a long time. And I came up with just my own way of doing it. And because it's a reflection when you're looking in the mirror. And I realized that if you could just do that throughout the day, I mean, you're going to go, like I used to, the mirror in the bathroom, because I'm going to go in there at least a couple times a day or more. And I realized that if you just did that, even if you don't think it works, that's what I love about that technique so much, is that I've taught that to people where they didn't believe me. In fact, they thought it was stupid and didn't even know they would be able to get any benefit whatsoever. But what's nice is that by doing it on a repeated basis, it's an affirmation. And just by looking in the mirror and really giving that time and just talking to yourself about the fact that you love you, even if you're not feeling it right then, over time, it can actually affect you. And it helped me. Like, I can't even really say how much that technique has really helped me to be able to love myself just the way I was, whether my hair's a mess or, my beard isn't trimmed or I got hair coming off my ears, whatever. It just doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, this is the package that I'm in. And so I might want to get used to that and really fall in love with that. So,
I never said this before. I never thought about it, but first part I have thought about. The first part is it's hard to tell somebody else you love them, because it's hard. First of all, you got to get to that place inside of yourself where you really have decided you love that person. And then there's all of these connective worries of I'm going to tell somebody that I love them, and they're going to tell me that they don't like me, let alone love me, and I'm going to be rejected. So when you think about it, most people would believe that telling somebody else they love them is challenging. And they're not realizing that the most challenging you could ever get when it comes to love is to be able to tell yourself,
right,
I love you, and mean it. Because we look at ourselves in the mirror and we only see imperfections. So, for example, I've never done this, but for now I would understand and maybe feel comfortable with saying something like, I love you just the way you are, which is, I always talk about myself as being perfectly imperfect. So maybe people could start out with, for example, looking in the mirror and saying, I love you just the way you are. So you're acknowledging the imperfections, but you're loving yourself through that. So this idea of getting to the strength of character and empathy and loving, that you could even tell yourself you love yourself, that I believe that would change a lot. In your chapter, you suggest milking positive experience to amplify their impact. Now, I love this. So could you explain how that process works?
Well, when I was going through different things in my life, I learned the power of appreciating something and taking it and holding on to it for as long as you can, and just holding on. And like, let's say somebody was saying something nice to me, or when I went through something, and like my house burnt down in 2020. And so the thing is that when somebody would say, hey, we're going to do this for you, or we're going to check on you, or we're going to pray for you, or whatever it was, I don't care what it was, I just held on to that. Because when when your house is all done and there's some feelings about that, and what did I lose or whatever. But what I found is that the more I could just hold on to it for as long as I could, just to think about it, and then tell somebody about it, and talk to myself about it with, in my mind, just thinking, wow, that was so cool that they took the time to do that for me. Like, they didn't have to do that. I mean, everybody's lives are busy and they got a lot of things going on with work and kids and all kinds of stuff. And so I would just milk it. I mean, I milked it and milked it. Anytime anybody, and if they didn't do it, it didn't matter. Well, I'm going to bring you a casserole or whatever it was, whatever the thing was, I right then held on to it like they'd already done it for me. And that's I just did that. And so I call it milking it, just squeezing it and holding on to it. Tell your friends about it, because a lot of times people call up and say, well, I had this really bad experience at Walmart and it really sucked. Well, what if you just did the other thing, which is, man, I had this amazing thing happen to me and I just wanted to share that with you. And then they become the ripple effect for it too. So it's an awesome thing.
Oh, that is genius. Hey, I just came back from Walmart. I got an amazing parking space right by the front door. Right?
Yes.
It's a whole different, not only is that a different person, but that's a whole different rest of the conversation. It's a conversation that starts out of gratitude. We share this. I have a technique that I talk about and created called shared confidence. And that is that you become confident by, let's say I'm wearing a red shirt and I go to the studio and somebody says to me, nice red shirt. Then I think, oh, wow, I'm the most handsome person in the world who's wearing a red shirt right now. And I don't discount it. They say nice red shirt. And I'm like, oh, I bought it at Costco. It's made out of polyester. You can't wash it with all the other clothes in the washer and dismiss it. They say nice shirt. I'm like, I'm gorgeous today. And then I put that in my mindset. They say, oh, thank you. And then I think, oh, I'm the most giving person in the world. So we decide how we accept our compliments and the good things that happen. You talk about a personal story where you were feeling like there was something wrong with you and you were questioning your own self-worth. So what was that?
Well, I think it happens to a lot of us. I mean, to me, I went through a lot of time where I really thought that there was, God just messed up that day when he was creating me. I just really felt that way. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but I think a lot of people go through that and think that, like, wow, I got so many issues and I've made so many mistakes or whatever it is. And we're keeping track and keeping score. And I really believe if you're keeping score, somebody's going to lose. And it's me, that kind of thing. So I really felt like there was just something off about me. Like there was some mistake that got made. And just different reasons. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I'm still working that one out. But here's the truth is that I don't care. I'm so glad that I've done all the different things I've done and tried so many things. I've been on this like Indiana Jones situation, exploring thing, and I love it. I'm so glad that I'm that way because I can really talk to almost anybody about anything because I probably have tried it or thought about doing it or studied it or something. And so for me, it was something that I had to figure out. And then I started asking myself some questions like, wait a minute, like, what about me? And how do I want to feel? And because when you just feel off about yourself for so long, you're going to have to start asking some questions. Isn't life supposed to be way better than this? And that's just the stuff I started asking. And then the questions, the better the question, the better the answer. You ask a 2,000-pound question, you're going to get a really good answer back. That's my thought.
Well, so very interesting. Whatever you believe, whatever religion you are, whatever you believe, how we got here. Let's say you believe in some kind of God-like figure. Okay, coming back to that. The other day, a friend of mine who's a student of mine who's starting this personal vitamin company, and that you can put in all this information, you can submit your blood work, and then they give you the vitamins that are perfect for you. And I said, well, doesn't that already exist? He goes, yeah, well, there are companies that do that, but they only literally have 7 or 8 different formulations. And so they put everyone in the world into one of those 7 or 8 vitamins that everybody needs to take. So like everybody's taking a multivitamin, right? Can you imagine how much easier it would have been for any deity to just make everybody the same? Yeah. How complicated is it that we became, we're all different. It seems like when you would make anything, if I'm Elon Musk, I can't just make every single car different, even if I'm Elon Musk, right? So every car's I got to have this model, which I push for 2 years. And then maybe I'll make this model, which I push for years. So the fact that we're all different on this planet, all different, all unique, it makes everyone special. It could have been so much the other way around. We could have all been the same, and then nobody would have been special because we would have compared ourselves to everyone who was exactly like us, and there would have been no way to think, I'm special. At the root of being special, at the root of loving yourself, at the root of finding your place in the world is realize that you're different than everybody else and embrace that difference. So listen, thank you so much for sharing your insights, Michael, with us. I'm sorry, sharing your insights with us. And
it's okay. You can call me different things. It's fine.
No, you're very different than Michael. And I just want to help people be able to get in touch with you. I want them to read the book and your chapter. So how can people get in touch with you?
So the best way for right now is the link that's actually in my chapter. If they do that, then I'm going to reach out to them through email, and then we can start, talking and going from there.
Amazing. Ken, thank you so much for being a part of this, this journey and all of that. So thank you so much.
It's great. Right. It's been great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Last was certainly not least. Okay. Look, it's been a long and interesting couple of days. And those of you that were with me all day, us yesterday and today, thank you so much. I personally had a great time. I learned a lot. I hope you feel the same way. If you haven't read the book, what book? Oh, For the Love of Transformation, the book that we want to reach #1 in all books at Amazon today. And
we are 847 spots from that right now.
We are 145 out of 32 million. Get us to #1 so that we can help more people. If you haven't read the book and you enjoyed any of the authors here today, wow, we are under 150 of 32 million. That's incredible. So click on the link right now. Reach out to us.
Loveoftransformation.com.
Loveoftransformation.com.
Really important. Do not go straight to Amazon. You won't get the $1,000 in gifts from the authors. If you want to help us and support us during the launch, first go to loveoftransformation.com. And then that will direct you on how to buy the book. You'll buy it through Amazon, but there are some specific instructions to get the $1,000. Make sure you go to loveoftransformation.com first, and then you'll get $1,000 in valuable gifts. Roger's giving away some stuff. Everybody in the course, or everybody in the book is giving away really valuable gifts.
So Michael and Kayla, and thank you so much for your help with this over the last couple of days. You guys are great producers. To all of you, you're unique. Let this book help you tailor your uniqueness. Transform what's unique about you into things that will make you happier and your life better. I'm Roger Love. Can't wait to see you again soon. Thank you all.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.